Hi guys, and welcome to another Divi WordPress theme tutorial. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, in this tutorial we're just going to demonstrate some simple section background transitions with the inbuilt features of the Divi theme. Divi theme's absolutely awesome, it just keeps getting better and better. I've built hundreds of sites with it and it is my go-to theme whenever I have to build a WordPress site. If you want to take it from a test drive, check it out from my affiliate link below here. But these transitions that we're going to do today don't involve any coding, no extra CSS. As if you've been watching my videos, you know I like to do custom CSS, but this is all inbuilt. Now we've got three little sections here. One's with an image background here. And then simply when I hover on it, it goes to a black and white image. Second section's a gradient background, and when I hover on it, the gradient will change to a different color there, and that text has a bit more contrast to it also. Third section's got a sort of fire in the sky thing going on here. When I hover on it, it'll change to a nice blue. Same picture with a regular sort of day looking picture on there. So let's get started. These are really easy to do. So let's just create a new page. And I want to use the Divi builder. And I'm going to start build from scratch. Divi has hundreds of pre-made layouts. If you want to use a pre-made layout, just hit the browse layouts here and you can have a site going in no time at all. And you just click on the one you want to look at and it'll demo it for you. But we're not doing that today. So I'm going to add a new section. We've got one here. I'm going to add a single row. And I'm just going to put a text block in it. And I'm going to go to ipsum.com and just grab some dummy text here. Dummy text, lorem ipsum, is great. Designers like myself that have to build sites to demo to people but don't have any content yet. You can just get some nonsense writing here and put it in so that people can see what your site's going to look like when it has got content in there. And I've just separated one line from the top there and I'm going to make this a heading too. Okay, I'm going to go over to design, and that heading 2 I'm going to make it an awful lot bigger. I'm also going to make it bold as well. I'm going to make it capitalized. I'm going to make it bold or extra bold, ultra bold. Take it down a bit so that it's all on one line there. That's fine. Then I'm going to go back to my just regular text. I want it to be aligned centrally, so I'm going to go down and hit the centrally align. And that's pretty much all I'm going to do there for that section. So I'll just save that. Now, the background for our section here, it's very simple. I'm going to go up to the cog for the section. We've got edit section with this one, edit row with this one if we had more than one column, and actually edit the contents, our writing here, with this one here. But I want to work on the section, so I'm going to hit that cog. I'm going to hit background. I'm going to hit image. I'm simply going to load an image that I've got on board here. And most of these images I got off Unsplash or Pexels. They're free stock images. Great sources for images there. I'm going to go ahead and upload that image. So we've got our image behind there, but we can't really read our text at all. So firstly I want to make it a lot deeper. So I need to add a bit of padding. So I'm just going to go to Design tab, go down to spacing. I'm going to give it 100 pixels. padding top, and I'm going to hit that link so it adds it to the bottom as well. Just gives us a little more space to work with there. But let's bring that up. Let's make it 150. Let's make it even bigger. There we go. That's a bit more like it. Now let's actually make our text so we can see it by making it white. So I'm going to go section, row, contents, which is where our writing is, onto the cog, up to the design tab, text. I'm just going to scroll down. We can either just make it white like that, or there's an option down here, text color, just to change it generically to a light color. There we go. Okay. I'm actually going to change that. I don't think that was quite what I had before. Just going to have that one line there. So I'm going to go back into the contents there. I'm going to get rid of that comma. I'll put a capital C there. And I'm going to drop that down. Make that back into paragraph text by selecting it. Just hitting paragraph. And then I want to bring the rest of it in line with it. So I'm just going to hit the delete. Bring that up there. That's better. Okay. And now let's make that heading text a little bit bigger. It was H2. Slide down. Let's just slide our slider up. Make it a real headline there. There we go. Alright, so we got our basic setup there. We've got the background in effect. Now what I want to do is when it hovers, I want that picture to go black and white. So let's go back up to our section setting, to the background. And I'm going to go over to design. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slide down to filters. And all I'm going to do is take the saturation down to 0. But before I do that, when you hover over the word saturation, you've got a little question mark that tells you what saturation is. And you've got a little arrow. If you click on the little arrow, it'll give you default and hover option. So default, I want to leave it exactly where it is. But when you hover over it with your mouse, so I'll select the hover tab, I want the saturation to go down all the way to black and white. Job done. Simple as that. So just hit the check mark to save it. I'm going to go ahead and publish this page. If it had already been published, I'd have a save down there. And let's exit the Visual Builder and see what we've got. So there's our regular background image with our text on the top. Now when I put my mouse over it, you can see it changes to black and white. Great, so let's enable the Visual Builder and do the next section, which was a bit of a gradient background. So I'm going to hit the little blue button here with the plus sign in it, add new section, regular section, and I'm not even going to do that. I'm going to copy this section that we've got here, this whole row. To do that, I select the row settings here, hit the two little boxes, and it duplicates it for me. I simply grab the little cross or plus sign there, drag it down to our next section, and it's inside there. Now you can't see it because the writing is light colored on there. So let's go into the content, hit the design tab, text, roll on down and make that text dark. As soon as we do this, you should be able to see it. There we go. Okay, save the changes. Now for this particular section, again, I want to give it a bit of padding, make it a bit wider. So padding is the space between the outer section and the row here. So this time I will give it 100 pixels, see if that will do it. Hit the little link icon and it'll do it top and bottom. Yeah, that'll do for this section. Okay. Now let's go to background. Let's give it a gradient this time. So we've got color, gradient, image, video, if you want a video background. But let's go gradient. And that's pretty close to what I actually want, but I want it a little more subtle than that. So let's do a lot sort of lighter blue for the top. Take the opacity or opacity down a bit, that'll lighten it up. And for the bottom, just a regular sort of blue. And again, we'll take the opacity or opacity, however you like to say it, down a little bit. Okay, so we've got our regular gradient there. And again, we've got a little arrow right where next to the word background here, which will give us some hover options. But what it won't give us a gradient option on that hover. It'll just give us a color option. So you've got it there for the default, but if we go on a hover, see, you can't actually access that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a color. So add background color. I'm just going to select green for convenience. That's okay, but I don't think it sort of stands out quite as much as I want it to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the Design tab. I'm going to go down to our filters here. And let's see if we can take up the contrast, if that'll make any difference. Yeah, that makes it stand out a bit better. But I only actually want that doing it on hover, so put that back to regular, contrast, little arrow, hover. Now let's bring it up. There we go. That makes it a lot more readable there. It's kind of psychedelic, but you get the idea. Save. And again, let's save, exit the Visual Builder and see what we've got. Alright, so that one's working now with this one. There we go. That one now goes from our sort of blue gradient to an almost green gradient. Even though it's an overlay color, we've got a slight difference between the top and bottom colors there. So it kind of is a gradient. Great. So let's move on to the third one, which I can't remember what it was. Oh, it was that sort of sunsetty fire in the sky type picture. So let's enable our Visual Builder. Now let's have a new section yet again. And I will again just copy over this one that we've got going on here. Two little squares to copy it. Little plus handle there to move it where we want it. Alright, now let's go and edit our background. And this time we want to put an image in again. So I'm going to go over to image. And I think I used this one here of the beach. We're kind of doing the opposite of what we did on that top one, which is we're going to have it sort of affected initially. And then when we hover over it, we're going to take the effect off. Okay, that text isn't standing out enough for me. But again, I want more space there. So again, I'm going to add perhaps 100, 150 pixels padding just to give it a bit of height there. Okay, there we have it. Now, for a bit of fun, let's use the Parallax Effect for this. So in the actual background section, where we put the image in just now, just below, I'm going to use a Parallax Effect. Now the parallax means that the two images moving at different speeds. Now that's true parallax right there, because the background image, I don't know if you can discern it or not, is actually moving. If you look at the cloud right there, you'll see it is actually moving, but at a different rate. And there's CSS parallax, which is where it's got a fixed, basically the background image is fixed and stays where it is. You see? the image stays where it is. So I'm going to use that one today. So we got our basic structure there. Now again, let's go over to our filters on the Design tab. Like I said, this is a great feature of Divi. A lot of times I'd have to do this with custom CSS, but this time I don't, which is great. What I'm going to do is I'm going to invert the colors, so the blue is going to completely change. Well, let's do this first. Let's hit the little arrow. So we've got the default and we've got the hover. I'm going to be working on the default. I'm going to pull this up. As you can see, it's inverted all those colors, and it kind of makes it look a bit like a sunset. Quite a violent sunset, but a sunset nonetheless. Okay, so that's what I want for the default, and for the hover, I just want it back to the regular picture like that. And again, we might want to take that contrast up. See on the default if it makes any difference. Yeah, it kind of makes it more fiery looking, but what I'm going to do, I don't know if it's too much. Well, why not? What I'm going to do is the regular paragraph text isn't quite standing out enough for me, so I'm simply going to bold it. I'm going to make it bold. So I'm going to save our settings here. So I've taken the contrast on the default up to 200 and the invert on the default up to 100%. And I really didn't need to check that checkbox, but anyway, so I've gone back in there. And I'm going to go to the Design tab and make the text. I'm going to make it bold. I don't think ultra bold is going to work. I think that would be too much. That way you can read it a little easier there. All right, well, let's save that and see what we've got. Little purple button over save our changes when we've got the check mark. Let's exit the visual builder. So that one's working fine, and this one right here, there's our sort of fire in the sky business. So there you have it. That's how to create some simple transitions for your sections using the inbuilt features of the Divi theme here. I hope you found this useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're interested in web development, take a look down below. We've got some great free courses down there, as well as some premium courses with some huge discounts for our YouTube subscribers. So do take a look. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.